So I recorded this whole thing with my microphone off, so now I have to do this again. Hello, my little filmer dudes and my super sleuths. Thank you for joining me on another Uncovering Only Murders in the Building, Season 5. And oh my goodness, dare I say, I might actually have hope for this season's finale. I dare. Finally, a good and solid episode. I mean, of course, we still need to see how the rest of the season pans out, but if this episode is an indication of how the rest of the season is gonna go, then maybe I won't be too upset with the finale. Because y'all, this episode felt very OMITB. But why did it take 8 freaking episodes for it to feel like an OMITB episode? With great clues, great reveals, great writing from the humor to the whole episode itself. Wow, so much to chew on. What a meal that episode 8. And I feel like because of my episode 6 review, I might have accidentally unleashed the floodgates of people who are also frustrated with this season. So I ask all of you, well, first, hello, and 2, did you like episode 8? How do you feel about the season now after seeing episode 8? Are you invigorated with the same hope that I am, or are you still a little uneasy? I will say that though this episode is fun and it is funny, I still don't know about the overall season. It really does depend on the landing. Will everything fall into place, or will it just simply fall apart? At this point, I truly have no idea because the writing is simply just all over the place. So it's really difficult to know what's actually bad writing or what's on purpose, you know? Regardless, this episode alone, chef's kiss. All right, so let's dig into this episode. At this point, it seems that everyone is in on it, which we all theorized at one point. I even said in my first video, I mean, everybody said in their first video that the vibe seemed off. It seems like everybody has a secret and that perhaps everyone might be in on it. However, I kind of don't want that to be the case here. I don't know why. I know I've been campaigning for this every single season. I say it every single year. Perhaps everyone did it, but this time, I mean, I don't know. They kind of did a version of that in last season with the Westies. Kind of, not really. So would they actually do it again this season? I don't think so. They might. All I know is that it's impossible for one person to do all of these deeds, to carry out everything in order to have this perfect cover-up. It's impossible. But what is possible for one person to be in charge of everyone doing their part. So the real question at this point isn't did everyone do it or who is the killer, but rather how is everyone involved and who is the one leading the charge? Assuming that everyone is involved. And in some ways, everyone is involved, just not in the way that you might be thinking or that the show is presenting. I see you writers and I raise you a wild theory. A few. Wild theory time. Dost thou smellest a trappeth? I do believeth, I doeth. Listen, the flashbacks from Camilla were just glimpses of Camilla's interactions with Nikki. We didn't see the whole thing, the plan being hatched, the in-between moments with Ash and Jay. We just saw the moments that Camilla had fallen for Nikki. And what we witnessed was the making of a really good plan. Listen, game recognizes game. Camilla and I are similar in some ways, but one way specifically. We both love the long game. I mean, why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't anyone? The long game gets you the most reward, it gets you the most confidence, it gives you the most bragging rights. I mean, did you not see her at the gaming table? It doesn't matter. Tonight, I'm a winner, no matter how much I lose. I love her so much. Now, I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but hear me out on this. I think that Camilla might have set this whole ordeal up. Sofia and the affair, seducing Nikki, buying the Arconia, it's all a trap. Let me bake. This episode essentially confirms that Nikki and Camilla had an emotional affair. It never got physical. Well, at least not explicit. Nikki and Camilla liked each other, but Nikki had love for Sofia, and Camilla had love for Nikki. See, part of the original plan was for Camilla to just pretend to seduce Nikki. Falling for him wasn't part of that plan. It just happened. Yet that or Nikki or Sofia wasn't gonna stop Camilla from achieving ultimate power and fame. But was it her plan or was it someone else's plan. Either way, Camilla's in love with Nikki and is feeling guilt and remorse over what happened that night. She didn't kill him, but she does know who did. After all, remember, she did claim to not have known Nikki whatsoever when they first met the trio, the OMITB trio, back in, I think, episode 3 or 4. Camilla is a pathological liar, so just keep this in mind whenever we see anything from Camilla. But again, this is that like vulnerable state, and alcohol is said to be the real life truth serum. So part of me believes that what we did see is somewhat true, but I'm still holding on to the maybe what if, but I think it was true. Also, who did Sofia Ladies and gentlemen, the person everyone seems to be forgetting who exists, J. Flug. Listen, it stands to reason that if Camilla knew about Nikki and Sofia's marriage issues, so did a lot of other people. Perhaps Jay went to Sofia with the same plan to seduce Sofia in order to gain the Arconia for the casino. However, unlike Camilla, Jay did not catch feelings. Or did he? I think potentially he did, but I also think that Sofia definitely was attracted to Jay for one specific reason. I think Jay is the one that Sofia had an affair with because Jay and Sofia are similar in many ways. Jay does not like his family name, he does not like what his family did with the name, and he wants to do something legitimate, make his name something good, something not mafia-like. Very much like young Nikki. So Sofia sees Jay and sees a young version of Nikki, the young version of Nikki that Nikki should have been that she never got. So she's of course attracted to Jay. It's the same reason why Sofia is attracted to Charles, because Charles is the version of Nikki that Nikki was supposed to become but never became and Sofia never got. Plus, having Jay be the one to have the affair with Sofia perfectly lines up with the Rage and Jay Bird comparison. So, did they? Maybe. Truly, I did not want Sofia to be part of this, and part of me thinks that maybe she isn't part of the murder, but about something else potentially. But there really seems to be a lot of evidence pointing to Sofia, or at least making Sofia part of this, so I at least have to put her in our suspect list, but I wait until you hear what I have later. Because here's the thing though, I have to throw this in there because the writing is so ridiculously all over the place, with sudden drops, dropping suddenly, so sudden with no previous warning or indication of these sudden drops and reveals. So I'm just presenting this just in case this happens. What if Jay is Sofia's illegitimate son, right? So what if what Nikki saw was Sofia and Jay hugging it out mama and son style, not canoodling Luke and Leia style? Or I guess in this case, Luke and Padme? Ew! Either way, just in case that this show goes in this direction, here you go. But I do not think so. I think I'm correct on the character analysis on their mutual attraction. But if I'm inadvertently correct about them being a family, then okay. Why not? And I know I'm talking a lot about Sofia for someone I don't think that might have been part of this fully, but what is her maiden name? Nikki basically confirms that the Velvet Room is not his, but is Sofia's family's legacy. It was just given to him after they got married. And up until now, we've gotten so many references to Sofia's family, but we've never ever learned her family name. What is that family name? I'm starting to think that this omission is on purpose. Think about it, we've seen Nona twice now. Doesn't prove anything, but what is Nona's last name? Why haven't we learned anything about her? With all this talk about mothers, do y'all think that maybe Nona is the mastermind behind all of this? Kinda tracks if this were all a setup to get rid of your spineless son-in-law that you don't like and make the casino legit forever, while also providing a better prospect for your daughter. It makes perfect sense. Is Nona the mastermind behind all of this? Maybe, but I don't think so. It would be funny though. And I do think she holds some key to this, mainly what is her last name? Also, what is George's last name? Is George Sofia's dad? Maybe? Then there's Randal. Oh, Randal, my boy Randal. Ladies and gentlemen, like I said, Randal, and I think everyone else, is involved by association. I don't think Randal was the one chasing Lester. I think Randal was sneaking around. He was snooping, he was observing, and he watched everything go down. Otherwise, how would he know about the Velvet Room or about the billionaires? He had to have been sneaking about. And again, I do think that Randal didn't like Lester, and therefore he did write "Die Lester Die" in reference to Lester, but he did not kill Lester. I don't think I ever mentioned it back then, but I did find it weird that Randal had this ledger and he just was like, okay, sure, why not? And he never questioned a single shady thing that happens in that ledger. That ledger's so full of secrets, and he's just acting like nothing's going on. It was weird to me. I think that Randal might have been the one who put the page in Nikki's mouth in hopes that the trio would find it as part of a clue. But Ivan, why would he incriminate himself? Well, this episode sets Randal up as someone who might have taken the crank because he sees an opportunity to make quick money. Yes and no. If there's anything we know about OMITB, especially episode 8's, is that they are never what they seem to be by the time they end. So, let's revisit a theory I had a while back. What if I am correct that Lorraine and Sofia are actually playing dumb, that they know a lot more that's going on, and that they're helping the trio inadvertently get the billionaires? So now let's add Randal to that mix. Remember, Lorraine gave Randal that ledger in episode 1. So unless that was some sort of induction into the murder crew, that was them recruiting Randal to Sofia's murder uncovering crew. So to me, I think that Randal took the crank as a fake loyalty to the billionaires. So he's posing being loyal to the billionaires while also being loyal to Lorraine and Sofia, while also trying to play dumb and not know anything's going on. So that's why he was in the closet just freaking out, because he's playing 3 different parts. My boy Randal is a triple agent. Well, double and a half, I guess. But at least we have confirmation that the elevator crank was indeed bloody. I guarantee you, whoever blood was on that crank is the same blood that was on Lester's hat. Whose blood was on Lester's hat? And it seems that we have got ourselves a 3 doorman problem. 3 doorman? I only remember 2. No, there's 3. 3 doorman? Yes, 3 doorman, because the way I read Camilla's line of effing doorman wasn't in reference to Lester, and it wasn't in reference to Randal, but it was in reference to George, their boss. By default, it's not Randal because episode 8 logic. But also it's not Randal because money is nothing to the billionaires. They make and lose so much so fast, it's second nature to them. It's crazy. So they really wouldn't care spending money on someone's silence, especially if that silence also comes with loyalty. To them, to the billionaires, Randal is just a younger, stronger, more spry, more loyal servant than Lester. And now he's locked in forever because they own him. He can't ever freaking leave until he proves them guilty. They don't necessarily care about Randal as long as Randal stays in his place. Also, by default, it's not Lester. It's not. So process of elimination brings us right back to George, the doorman, their boss. So what other role than the actual Godfather does George play in my mental fantasy? What? None. He's the one in charge of the entire situation, and he's the one that everyone fears because he owns everybody. He gave money for everyone's startup. He's the reason why everybody is locked in, why everyone is doing what they're doing. He kept himself young using the same tech, the same de-aging and youthful tech that Bash used on himself, so that George can still look like Tony Plana in his prime. Old as hell, but still looking fine as hell. And George might be the one who's missing the finger. I mean, we've all checked. At everybody who's been on screen, they all have 10 fingers. Nerds and Knights went through all of the episodes again, and he has confirmed everybody so far has 10 fingers. So the only ones left are George and Teddy Demas. And last I checked, Teddy ain't a doorman, so my money is still on George. So hear me out. If George is the big bad, the one in charge of everything, Where has George been this entire time? Well, hear me out. I have a new wild theory. What if there's a third victim? And what if we've been trying to connect this finger with someone who's alive, but it actually belongs to someone who's dead? Here is what happened. After Nicky leaves Camilla on that street corner, he goes, gets drugged up, watches Goodfellas, his favorite movie of all time. It's basically his story. But at that point, he has an epiphany. He doesn't want to work for his wife's family. He doesn't want to do this mafia stuff. And in fact, this obsession with the mafia is what's driving a wedge between him and his wife. So he goes, confronts Sofia in two scenarios. Either they find out that Camilla was lying about the affair the whole time. Don't think that was it. Or that Sofia really did have an affair and that this whole mafia stuff is driving a wedge between them and that things are not great between them, but Nicky has a chance to fix things. So he goes to the casino, the Velvet Room, that night to confront everybody, meet Cleaver in hand, and he confronts everybody. He threatens them for trying to ice him out of the casino business and driving a wedge between him and his family. Since I believe George is the one approving the bid for the mayor, George might have been there already, placing him there at the scene of the crime. At that point, there's a big fight that ensues, and I think this is how it goes down. George cleaves Nicky in the chest. Lester cranks George on the head. Lester runs away, and the billionaire trio, since they slowly chased down the main OMITB trio in episode 6, I think they might have slowly chased down Lester, not to murder him, but to say, hey, it's okay, it's fine, you need to stop. And in his anxiety, in his haste, he drops the bird whistle, he drops the crank reverse timing, and I think there might have been a kerfuffle. Either he just simply slips in, but if he's just simply slips in, why erase, why scrub the footage, you know? So I do believe he was at least pushed. There might have been a kerfuffle, like a struggle for the bird whistle, and he might have been pushed or slipped in, and that's why they scrubbed the footage, because it looks like they might have actually pushed him in. It was an accident. And now we have 3 dead bodies on our hands. Well, the billionaire's hands. And that would explain where George has been. Perhaps, is this the case? Maybe, maybe not. But it'd be crazy if there was a third victim. But with so much convoluity, I don't know if that's the actual case. Either way, we've got 2 more episodes to figure out what is going on. And now it is time for comments. Wild Major M dies. L Punk 6396 says, Oliver is supposed to thank Camilla for changing that room into a beige nightmare? Seriously, I would have preferred a little bit of color. I did like that it was cleaner. I will give her that, but I need a little bit more color. Contrast. I'm a guy of contrast. Sherry7054 says the cryo chamber is to fool us. He was either in Teddy's freezer or the Arconia's. That is a very good thought. I just want to know why that cryo chamber was currently on when the trio were there. Who was inside that cryo chamber? Brandon Jasmine7144 says nope, but at least I can enjoy reviews. I'm glad you're enjoying the reviews. I'm also enjoying interacting with all of you guys, so it's been fun nonetheless. This Growing Mama says, I enjoyed your take on things. New subscriber. Thank you. That makes a lot. White Crow 268 says, I'm glad I'm not the only one who suspects George. I remember your comments about George on my other videos. I'm glad that we are in the George boat together. Ariana's mama says, OMG, did you and Nerds a Night hit each other? What are the chances 2 podcasters had car accidents recently? Seriously though, hope you're okay. Glad you seem safe. Yes, I am safe. Yes, I am okay. I came out completely unscathed from my car accident, and no, we did not hit each other. We live so far away from each other, different states. But it is wild that we both had car accidents within days of each other. It's crazy. It's really, really crazy. But I'm good. Thank you for your concern. Be sure to check up on him. He is also recovering well. Sherry7054 also says, my guess is the finger is a red herring and has nothing to do with the murders. Seems too obvious. Yeah, it kind of does seem a little too obvious, but I feel like if that were the case, I would be slightly annoyed only because it would feel like She-Hulk, where that finale basically said, we wasted 9 weeks of your time, and I don't like that. Don't waste my time with frivolity. But that is it. Thank you all for commenting and watching and being dedicated to this channel and to other people's channels. This community is phenomenal. I am excited to see what the next 2 weeks have for us. Leave your comments down below. Be sure to check out Nerds at Night's video. I'm sure that's going to be up before mine will be, but I did a collab with him and there might be another collab later on in a couple weeks, so be sure to check those out. And my social media links are in the description below, and I will see you next time. You've just been Montified.